You didn't think much of it at first. It was something you've always done. In private, without guilt, without question. A release, a comfort, a quiet way to feel like yourself again. And even after 70, you kept the habit. Because why wouldn't you? It felt familiar, safe, yours. But lately, something feels different. Not painful, just off. You finish and feel more tired than relaxed. Your heart beats a little faster than you expect. Your sleep doesn't come as easily afterward. And every now and then, you feel a strange wave of emptiness that lingers longer than it used to. You brush it off. I'm just getting older. But then one night, while listening to a podcast, a doctor says something that makes you sit upright. Most older men continue masturbating the same way they did when they were 30. And that's exactly why they're silently damaging their bodies now. You stare at the radio, hands still, thought frozen. Because suddenly, you realize, I've never adapted. I've just kept doing it the same way, and hoping my body wouldn't notice. The first mistake? Not recognizing that your nervous system has aged. What once gave you a sense of release might now be overstimulating your body's natural balance. After 70, your heart becomes more sensitive to strain. Your pelvic floor is weaker. Your circulation is slower. If you're using the same pace, the same grip, the same urgency, you're placing pressure on systems that no longer recover the way they used to. And while no one sees it, your body feels it every single time. You think back. You felt lightheaded afterward a few times, sometimes even tight in the chest, but you dismissed it. It's probably the coffee. Maybe I didn't eat enough. Just stress. But the truth? It might be overexertion, especially if it's happening in silence, without stretching, without foreplay, without softness or breath. You've treated your body like a machine, and at 72, you're starting to feel the cost. That night, you don't repeat the habit. Not because you're afraid, because you're finally listening. You sit in your chair. Let the room be quiet. Let your body settle without performance. And you ask a question that no one ever taught you to ask. What does my body need now? Not what it used to need, but what it's asking for today. The danger isn't in the act. It's in the assumption that it hasn't changed just because it's still private. But your body has changed, and the more you respect that, the longer you'll keep this part of your life. Safely, fully, and with more peace than pressure. Later in the video, you'll hear how a second, more emotional mistake, not adapting your reasons, can turn a healthy habit into a deeper form of disconnection. You've stopped asking yourself why you do it. It's just part of the rhythm now. A habit, like brushing your teeth, or turning off the lights. But tonight, for some reason, you pause. You sit at the edge of the bed, hands still, and wonder, am I really doing this because I want to? Or just because I have nothing else to reach for? You think back to how it used to feel, not just physically, but emotionally. There was warmth, connection, imagination even. Now, it feels mechanical, like flipping a switch, a fast forward through something you're not even present for. And afterward, you don't feel shame. You feel absence, as if something came and went, but never really arrived in the first place. This is the second mistake men over 70 silently fall into, letting masturbation become an emotional placeholder. It stops being about pleasure and starts becoming a way to pass time, avoid loneliness, or numb the ache that comes with isolation. You're not using your body. You're trying to forget you still have one. And in doing that, you lose the part of the experience that used to keep you alive. There's a danger in turning intimacy into routine, in removing presence from something meant to root you in it. Because when you do, your brain responds accordingly. You stop releasing oxytocin, the hormone of bonding and safety. Your dopamine dulls. your nervous system forgets how to pair touch with emotion. And before long, your mind no longer expects joy from your own body. Only a brief chemical flicker that fades faster every time. You sit back in your chair. The air is still. Your hands rest quietly in your lap. And in that moment, you admit something. I don't need more release. I need more meaning. Not romance, not sex, connection. Even if it begins with yourself. You breathe, not rushed, not shallow, just present. You realize you've been acting like this part of your life is something to be hidden, even from your own awareness. But your body is not a machine. It's not just a valve. It's not just a reaction. It's you. Still here. Still worthy of being felt. Not just finished. The harm isn't in the act. It's in the absence of care. When the body becomes a tool, you stop treating it like it matters. And your heart, not just the muscle, but the part that wants to be seen, starts to close in on itself. Later in the video, you'll learn about a physical habit most older men don't realize is damaging their pelvic floor and nervous system, and what to do instead. You thought it was harmless. The routine, the way your hand moves, the grip, the speed. You've done it that way for decades. No one ever told you to change it. And frankly, no one ever asked. But now, your body's asking. Not with words, with signals. A dull ache afterward. A strange tightness in your lower back. A feeling of fatigue that hangs on longer than it used to. At first, you thought it was just aging. But deep down, you're starting to wonder if the way you're doing this is part of the problem. This is the third silent mistake most men over 70 make. Using old techniques on a changing body. You grip harder because you've lost sensitivity. You speed up because you want it over. You sit slouched, hunched, stiff, because that's the only way it still works. But your body is older now, and older bodies respond differently to pressure, especially where it matters most. The pelvic floor, the deep set of muscles under your hips, weakens naturally with age. It supports your bladder, your bowels, your prostate, and yes, your sexual response. But when you tighten it too often, when you clench without awareness, when you finish without relaxing, you're putting long-term strain on the very system you need to preserve. This leads to more urinary urgency, erectile fatigue, prostate inflammation, back and hip discomfort, sleep disruption, and anxiety cycles. And yet, no one tells you, because no one expects you to be talking about this. You sit on the edge of your bed, feet flat on the floor. You breathe into your belly, let your shoulders drop. And for the first time, you ask yourself, what if I've been forcing something that needs to be relearned? You're not broken. You're not failing. You're just using a pattern that doesn't fit anymore. And that mismatch is silently costing you strength and clarity. You move slower now, more aware. Instead of pressure, you focus on sensation. Instead of racing, you pace. Instead of clenching, you allow your body to move, shift, and soften. It's not about achieving anything. It's about recovering something, a connection with the body you're in today. We age, but the body doesn't stop speaking. It just speaks differently. And if you don't listen, you don't just miss pleasure. You risk injury, fatigue, and disconnection from the one thing you've always carried with you: yourself. Later in the video, we'll explore the mental trap that keeps older men cycling through the habit for emotional relief, and how it slowly chips away at confidence and vitality. You've always thought of this as private, and it is. But over the years, it's become more than that. It's become your go-to, not just for pleasure, but for stress, for boredom, for sadness, for silence. And now, It's no longer just something you do. It's something you default to. And that is where the danger begins. You don't even realize how often anymore. Some days it's out of habit, other days it's just to fill time. But when you finish, you're not lighter, you're emptier. This is the fourth mistake most men don't recognize: using masturbation to regulate emotions instead of addressing them. You feel lonely. You release. But nothing changes. You feel restless. You release. But you're still unsettled. Because the tension inside isn't physical, it's emotional. And what started as relief has now become an escape, one that doesn't give anything back. You sit down afterward and feel smaller, not ashamed, but like you've stepped further away from your own aliveness. Because when this becomes the only place you feel anything, your world begins to shrink. And when it shrinks, you stop seeking touch from others. You stop wanting to be seen. You start pulling inward, not because you're tired of people, but because you've forgotten how it feels to be open again. That's when you notice something else. Your confidence isn't what it used to be. Not just sexually, in general. You hesitate more, speak less in conversations, walk with less purpose. You avoid mirrors. You stop trying new things. And you think it's just age. But the truth is, your confidence lives where your connection lives. And without intimacy, without honest expression, without warmth, confidence becomes a memory, not a presence. You take a walk. You don't rush it. You pass someone on the sidewalk and look up, just to see if they'll meet your eyes. They do. A soft smile. You nod. And in that moment, you feel something shift, because you weren't escaping. You were present with yourself, with the world. This was never just about biology. It's about relationship, with your body, with your mind, with your sense of worth. And when you use touch to avoid your life, you stop building one worth touching. Later in the video, you'll hear the final, often ignored mistake: how refusing to talk about this part of life makes healing impossible, and what you can do to finally change that. You didn't grow up talking about this. Not with your father, not with your doctor, certainly not with your friends. It was always something behind closed doors, done in secret, mentioned in whispers, if at all. And now, at 72, you carry that same silence like it's normal, like it's safer. But the truth is, it's not. You've been in discomfort. You've felt tightness, tension, sadness. You've had questions no one answered. And for years, you've carried that in silence, telling yourself, this is just part of aging. No one talks about this. It's probably nothing. But what if it's not nothing? What if that silence is the final mistake? This is what most men over 70 never realize. Staying quiet is what keeps the damage going. You don't seek answers, so you don't find solutions. You don't change habits, so the harm continues. And the worst part? You think you're the only one going through it. But you're not. You're not the only man who feels disconnected from his body. You're not the only one who's lost joy in a habit that used to bring comfort. You're not the only one who's quietly wondering if he's doing something wrong, and too proud or too unsure to ask. So here's the truth. You're allowed to talk about it. You're allowed to ask questions. You're allowed to care about this part of your life. It's not dirty. It's not shameful. It's human. And it still matters. You make a decision today, not a big one, but a brave one. You bring it up, gently, at your next checkup. You write down what you've been noticing. You speak to a therapist, or watch a video, or read something that answers the question you've been holding for too long. And for the first time in decades, you don't feel like you're hiding. You feel like you're returning. to honesty, to health, to control, to yourself. Because that's what this journey was really about. Not just avoiding mistakes, but reclaiming ownership over your body, your mind, your manhood. Yes, even now. Especially now. You've carried a lot. Silently. But silence was never strength. Understanding is. And when you start choosing awareness over habit, presence over shame, truth over avoidance, you don't just protect your body, you restore your dignity. And that is how healing begins. If this spoke to you, if it made you pause, reflect, or even breathe a little deeper, please consider subscribing. Because we talk about what others won't. And we remind you, you're still here, still whole, still worthy of knowing your body and being known by it.